Hello, Pandooradom. I am your host, Paul Cradle. Miles Gray is not here right now. I'm on the phone with Indiana Man, who has been having
Hi.
some discussions with me, and we thought we might like to export that over to video and have a
Uh,
call so that you could share in the civilized, polite discussion that we're having. So, Indiana Man, what what what's the topic at hand?
oh, I want to cover one thing briefly, and that's the climate of politics in the United States
Climate
today,
of politics. Okay, go ahead.
and
I
and the
thought we were gonna
tolerance.
cut straight to something
Oh, we will,
more
we will.
intense, but okay, go
Well,
ahead.
we will, oh, we will, because just to give you an idea
All
of
right.
what is actually going on when you talk about these subjects, politics today in the United States is wow, it's kind of fiery, so to speak.
But shouldn't it
It's
be? Weren't there
oh right.
times when isn't there just such a malaise anymore? Shouldn't people care more?
They should.
They used to be a lot more
I
civically involved.
but I guess the words that they choose and the tolerance level for people with different opinions, I think, has gone down. And I think it actually has developed into a little bit of a battle
You mean
between people.
we're not as polite?
Right. We automatically assume that the other side is they're just total dumbasses. They're just too stupid. They don't know what they're doing. They're never going to learn.
Right, but
I'm
is
not.
there any I'll stop you there. But is there any real intellectual discussion going on at all?
I think
Not very much. Not as much as there
no,
used to.
right, because you have the puffing of the feathers, you have the fluffing of the feathers and the puffing of the chest, and I know more than you do, and you don't know what you're talking about, and you're a dumbass, and you don't know how it's going to be,
Yeah, because
and all
people
of
don't have
this.
the attention span for actual discourse anymore. We can't
Exactly.
convince each other of anything. We can't. Most
Can't.
people don't really lay out thoughts in paragraph form, one after the other, in essay style. I often try to do that, but it's usually a waste anyway. Facebook is not the place for that, right?
Right.
So
Because people don't have time to read.
no, they don't. They don't have, and they only have time for quick sound bites. So a point. So
Yes.
there is no nuance. There's the death of
Yes.
nuance.
Right. I
Everything
okay.
has to be bounced right back off you. So how about this? No, blah blah blah. This you're wrong in a
Yes.
one liner. Everybody else has to be wrong in a one liner.
One liner. So there we're getting into
So,
why Trump won. We're getting into that real quick. Why Trump won
because
because
the
of
Democrats
exactly what you
failed. The
right.
Democrats
Well, no, no,
failed.
no. Exactly what you just talked about. And the Democrats failed because Trump was better at the one-liner, the little cuss word every now and then, the drama, the being cool. He was better at that. He was better at lying to the people about giving them what they want. So he appealed to more people, and he was good at doing it. He was good with the quick one-liner, good at social media, good at the soundbite, and he was rude and tough and crude, and he didn't have much time for anybody else.
But
And of course, the
how
alarm would
were the
go off.
Democrats that much more nuanced though? Why couldn't they appeal to the people? Why couldn't they get the people excited about anything to go and vote Democrat for?
Let's face it, Joe Biden was lacking in what we're talking about. Joe Biden was not quick. He was the old style president where he was eloquent with the
Yeah,
speech
but he dropped
and
out.
oh,
He
I
wasn't
know. So
running.
since he dropped out, people still had the impression that that's who we were going to get, that that's who a Democrat was, and I think with Harris, she was just a little too late. I think it was a little too late. She didn't do enough, and she did it a little too late. That's what I think.
But
But
you
at
know,
at the same time, I think a lot of these people who voted Republicans are now going to regret it. I do because I don't think they did their homework, and I don't think they looked into exactly what Trump wants to do and how he's going to do it.
Well,
And I think that they're just going to close their eyes and pray for lower prices, like Walmart always. And and
hey,
3 years
Indiana
from
man,
now,
I don't think that's what it's about though. I don't think that
okay,
our purpose in life is to have lower prices at Walmart.
you are not living here in the United States of America, going to a remedial job and
Menial
and
labor.
living daily life here when the only thing in the world that you're when the world revolves
Aaron,
around
I
you.
mean, Indiana man,
Yeah.
that's a nice place. You got a fire going. You got a nice fan on the wall. You got stucco.
Oh,
You
it
got
is
nice
beautiful.
things.
Yes.
The point of life is not to have cheap things at Walmart. Most of that stuff's made in China anyway, could be made better, longer lasting, more durable, and support your local economy. You wouldn't have as much crap, but doesn't everybody have too much crap? Why do we need
Try
so much junk from Walmart at cheap
try
prices? Even if you have to pay more for food, but you eat healthier, isn't that
try
better for you?
try telling the red wave that. That's what you had. You had the red wave because everybody wanted lower prices. Everybody was sick and tired of paying all these high taxes, sick and tired of paying for gas and paying these tariffs and everything. So, or these high prices. What do you call it? Inflation.
Basically, it's so the only
Inflation. They were
so the
tired of the
issue.
inflation.
So so you think the issue at hand is prices?
And Trump did an excellent job of convincing everybody, like a good Republican, that they have money, that their money should be their money, and they should be rich, and that prices were going to go down. Trump had everybody probably believing there's going to be deflation. I'm sorry, capitalism's not set up for anything but inflation. And
Well,
once prices are
all
there,
right.
they're not going to
Let's
go down.
let's get to the other issue, the what they call the undocumented worker. I'm gonna say
Right.
I'm gonna say dangerously undocumented, which means illegal. And what I
Yeah.
want to say about that, we talked about this. I'm sure we disagree, but that's the point. We need to mesh things out civilly. It's okay. The thing
Mhm.
is, uh, so the undocumented workers are credited with making this country go, right? Like they get the jobs done that we don't want to do, right? They'll say
Mostly yes.
yeah, they say that they will say the undocumented workers, the illegals, prop up our econ. They economically benefit the United States by doing the labor that we don't want to do. And
Yeah.
I'm sure that my stance on that is different. I think that if we need to have a labor shortage in this country, we need to have an unskilled labor shortage in this country. Well, in that country where I'm from, where
Oh,
where if something
wait,
does
in
where
the
if
United States?
yeah, well,
Talking
yeah,
about the United, yeah.
yeah, in the United States, where if you can't get if you can't pay an American to do it, the work won't get done. It used to be like that, didn't it?
Right.
Why
But isn't that going to drive inflation?
would that drive inflation? Well, let's think about this. No, maybe not. Here's
Oh,
why. Here's why. Because what that will mean when the value of labor goes up because the supply of labor goes down, that will mean that the wage relative to everything else will have to go up. So that will mean that you could be an unskilled labor again in the US working at a factory. Not everybody who works at a factory is unskilled, but you know what I mean. You can just go
right.
work, just go get a job, pay for your house in 4 years or less because your labor is so valuable.
Now, wait a minute. So you're saying by throwing watermelons in the back of a truck into a box, unskilled labor, manual labor,
Well, that's a
that
summer.
wage is,
That's a
yeah,
that's
that,
a summer job. It's
well, okay.
another thing. Another thing. It's the return of the summer job. Your labor would be so valuable you could pay for college with a summer job turning watermelons, like mom did. What happened to that?
She didn't exactly pay for college
Well,
by turning
well,
watermelons, but
people used to
close.
pay for college just about by doing summer
Okay,
jobs
well,
and working through. And if there's a labor shortage, the value of your wage will be so high that you'll be able to buy to make major purchases on unskilled labor. And those are the glory days of this country when people were able to do that.
okay, question. Okay, the guy that's paying his workers to do this unskilled labor, okay, does he have to pay his workers more?
Will he have to pay his workers more?
Because you're talking about the value of their wages is going up.
The value of their wages will go up relative to everything else we could buy. So labor will be costly to buy. That will be the limiting factor in a lot of things we're able to get done because we won't have the
Well,
immigrant coming over and just see it's not enough to say that the immigrant just does work that we don't want to do. The immigrant has to do work that wouldn't get done if that work that would not get done by an American is the only work that is really helpful for an immigrant to do. But
okay.
if you've got some Gen Zer sitting there playing video games in mom's basement, can't get a job, can't even pay for college, maybe won't even go to college because he doesn't want the debt, which is reasonable now. And so he's there. But if you can do farm labor and pay for your own life plus a family because the
Hmm.
value of wages has gone up that high, how is that bad for him?
Hey,
Now, will prices go
what I'm
up?
asking, right? What I'm asking is, does that employer have to pay that guy a higher wage? Do the wages go up?
For wages relative to everything else? Yes. But that's good because that means the worker can pay for things in his life. Don't
Okay,
we want that?
Ryan, when have you ever heard of a major corporation absorbing a loss due to high wages into their profits? A company like
But
Walgreens.
when have you heard of a company experiencing a labor shortage and can't get things done?
um,
It doesn't happen because we've got these people coming in, and if they may not work directly for that company, but they are stealing. The illegals are stealing work indirectly from the American worker, or well, actually, how to say this? They're diluting the value of our labor indirectly by whatever job they take that we so-called don't want to do, but that we would do if wages were higher. We
I
would
don't.
do it.
I
Yeah.
I think you're a little bit wrong there anymore. I think there's been in our society, I think there's a curse on some jobs. So like a janitor or the hotel maid or
Okay, well,
uh
let's have a shortage on that then. Let's have a shortage. Let's have not enough janitors and see what happens to Gen Z. We don't have enough janitors. There's custodian work, nobody wants to do it. And we can't find anybody from outside who is going to come over because they've been deported. Gen Z
well,
sitting
okay.
there without a job, what are you going to do? We don't have enough. Finally, we can say we
So
don't have enough of these people. What are you going to do? Will you come in, please? We'll pay you.
okay, so So you're talking about all of this, and all of this is just theoretical because right now, the way things are and the way things sit, it is nowhere near where you're talking about because we have a huge influx of illegals who come
Yeah,
across the border of this
and they
country.
work mostly for work.
You would hope.
Yeah, well,
Some have bad
there's
intentions too.
some, well, and some of that
Yeah,
work is crime.
yeah, yeah.
Sometimes that's crime.
And right, and and
But
so
and so there's more of an incentive for an illegal to do crime because,
yeah.
well, yeah, there's more incentive for an illegal immigrant to do crime than a citizen because the
Mhm.
citizen knows that he can really just get a legal job.
And
That's
more than
what,
likely, if an illegal commits a crime and gets arrested, more than likely they're just going to throw him back into Mexico.
so he
They're
doesn't
going to
have to get
deport
it.
him.
Yeah.
Right.
So the thing is, Indiana man, we have not experienced a shortage of labor caused by the mass deportation of illegal immigrants. We need to feel
Oh,
that. We need to feel the pinch of work not getting done in our country.
okay. So
Do
now,
we have
literally,
that?
the way Trump got votes is by playing on this. He said, okay, we're going to deport everybody, mass deportation. How do you do that? How do you do that in this country? How?
I don't think
Okay.
he's going to invoke the military to do that because that's a domestic issue. He's going to try it, and they should stand.
No,
You can.
he's a total freaking madman. He said
Well,
it
I think
more
the
times
generals are
than
going to
once.
stand
His
down.
plan, his plan for mass deportation in this country is tanks rolling down the cities of
Well,
U.S. cities, and mainly U.S. Democratic cities, we'll put it that way. And that's his plan for mass deportation. Talk about Hitler, if I ever heard of it. And he's going to
well,
go door to door. If you can't provide papers and you sound Hispanic, you're gone, buddy. You're gone. And you're going to be sent to camps and you're going to be sent to concentration camps. Let's call them whatever you want to. FEMA camps, deportation camps, whatever it is. No, it's a concentration of population camp where you're going to be treated poorly, probably die, and sent off to Mexico because you can't provide your papers. You want to live in a country that does that to people and how great it is, and and then turn around and talk about how great this country is, because I mean, after all, it wasn't a country based on immigration. It wasn't a country based on people wanting better for themselves. No, it was, now it's a country based on rich white people who don't want anybody different interrupting their economy. There's my speech
well,
on deportation.
well, they're
I
illegal.
would
How
not
are you going
want
to
to be
deal? How are you going to deal with it? They're illegal. How
right.
are you going to get them out then? How are you going to get them out?
I would not want to be a soldier in the United States military right now, because there's a chance and a probability that you're going to be used to go on convoy down a U.S. city street, plucking people from their camps and their homes, and sorting them out and throwing them into rail cars, shipping them down to Texas into huge concentration camps in Texas, where they're going to be barely fed and then they're going to be thrown across the border.
I know
And
this is kind of out of bounds. I know, but consider the conditions in which they come.
from,
Crossing
you're talking about,
crossing some wall out in the middle of nowhere, like that's not voluntarily subjecting yourself to harsh conditions.
right, that's how bad
But
it is over there.
that doesn't justify a first world country not providing civilized deportation means. I hope what you're saying is wrong. You can,
Is it civilized to deport these people? Is
yes,
it humane to deport
yes,
them?
yes,
To just send them back to where they came from, because we
yes.
don't care.
I can blanketly say that there's nothing inhumane about having these people deported, but I can't guarantee that there is available um, humane means to have them deported immediately. They should be
Okay,
deported. They're illegal immigrants.
you better build one hell of a wall, because when those people want to come back again, they're going to be pissed, they're going to be angry, and they're going to want to cause trouble here. When you take good people who are just wanting to work here and you throw
That's
them
not it,
back across
Aaron.
the border.
That's not it, Indiana man. They're not just good, honest people wanting to work. They're taking jobs.
Okay, when you take someone who risked their life to come across the border of this country for to better themselves, and they finally do that, but they're undocumented, and you take the United States military that hoards them, rounds them up, possibly separates them from their children, and then runs them into this camp, and then throws them back into the desert, bleak cities of Mexico, and they're not upset about that? What is your opinion of the United States of America after this has happened to you as a deported immigrant? You are thrown back into the country. Suddenly, you hate the United States of America, and I think that's
So
where
what?
our biggest our well, that's I think that's our biggest problem is we don't pay attention to what other countries actually think about us after the things we do. And like Iraq, we left the country of Iraq in a total shambles, in a shithole mess, with terrorists and other groups wanting to take over the country, and we just left. And guess what? Bad things happened. Their army wasn't quite trained and ready yet. Their police department was totally swayable by anybody. And yeah, it took
Yeah,
forever over there in Iraq, and we just
yeah.
we just pulled up and left. What are we doing with these immigrants? And we're just pulling them up and leaving them. And nobody's thinking about the future, because when you do this to these people and you're not thinking about, what are they going to do now? When we don't care about what the Mexicans do now,
Are you
those
thinking
Mexicans.
about our own Gen Z who can't get a job?
I
Are
think he
you
can.
thinking about our own people?
I think he can. I just don't think he's trying
This is
very hard.
weird because you're a veteran and you've always lived in the US.
Right.
And I freaking just left most of my life, almost most of my life. And yet
Yeah.
I am all American worker rights. And I've hardly ever even worked there. But but I know that mostly the reason I left is because there were no options. Do you realize what
Mm.
I, as a college graduate, was greeted with in terms of my economic options in life?
Well, I
Do
think,
you realize how diluted in value my wages were?
yeah, I do, because I graduated from 2 years of college, and they promised great things. They promised great jobs, but
Do
when
you
you
realize
got
one generation before you and me, you could support a family on a General Mills factory job
right,
putting
but
cereal packages in boxes. There were
yes,
guys
good,
who did that. Do you
yeah,
realize when I took my first thing out of college was a telemarketing job, if you could even call it a job. I
oh my,
did some factory work like across the street from where you work, and I kind of should have stayed in America doing that, but I would have been very poor doing that. And
um,
it got worse. The last time I tried to go and work there, we have the same father. Our dad drove me to work because I could not afford a car and they could not buy me a car. I could not get a house. The value of my labor was so low. I struggled just to send money to support my family in the Philippines. One daughter and
right,
one wife.
yeah,
Why should
yeah,
I
it's
be
bad.
competing with cheap ass illegal imported labor? And you're saying
Um,
that it's because of it, I should be worried about inflation if they have to pay the American worker a decent wage?
so you want to come here and do the job that nobody wants to do and make better money
I
doing it.
want to do it for a living wage, even if I have to scrape up beep.
Right. I
And
hear
I
you.
don't want some little sombrero, nothing wrong with that, but some little, nothing
I
wrong with
mean,
them, but let's admit there are stereotypes I could use.
this is
Okay?
this
I
is
don't
totally
want them
ironic.
taking my job to the point where it makes it difficult for me to have housing and transport to support
I
my
understand.
family in the Philippines. And I'm a
I
burden
understand.
on my parents on top of that because
Hey,
I'm willing
I
to do work with my own two hands and it's not worth a damn darn.
I hear you. You know what's ironic right now is that you are saying what everybody else around me is saying.
Oh
Everybody
yeah,
else
why
here
do you think
feels the
they
way you
are?
do.
Why do you think they are? Do
Right.
you think there's an element of truth to that, kernel of truth?
Right.
It might even be right. How do you know?
Right.
You tell me,
There
how do you know? Why was it so hard for me and a burden on my parents for me to go to the US and support my family in the Philippines, a third world country, by the way, where Filipinos want to come to America? And I'm willing to work with my own two hands, and I couldn't do it.
well, it's either
Well,
you
there
couldn't do
weren't
it
open jobs there greeting me
or
that I could
or
just
the
go and do.
well, or was it that just the types of jobs weren't suitable for the work that you wanted to do? I mean, the
No, they
jobs were
weren't
there.
there. They weren't available. There was not a list of economic options that I had. They claimed to be, and I have a computer science degree, right? I don't think it counts for anything. I think that was another college was another scam on the American people,
Oh
where
yeah,
ownership, we can get into that, but the ownership
yeah.
class just wanted to dilute the value of skilled labor so that you couldn't demand higher wages by being skilled, while on top of that you can't get blank for being unskilled anymore. I
Right.
guarantee you, if it's hard for me to support a wife and baby in the Philippines while I'm working in the US, I understand why, unless I'm some Chad or Tyrone who just has baby mamas who love me because I'm bad or something, I would not even have reproductive opportunities in the US, even if even being willing to be legitimately married, I would not have reproductive opportunities unless I were bad.
I didn't I didn't
Uh,
plan to talk about reproductive
well,
opportunities, but
people have babies, okay? You know what I mean. All right, meeting ends in 10
we're
minutes.
talking. Okay, so I think we can say that we differ on immigration. And the only reason why is because I just don't see anything good coming out of a wall and treating people like we did the Jews in Germany in World War II. We're not going to kill them, but basically we're going to throw them back to the coyotes and wolves, and we don't care about them
Coyotes
anymore.
and wolves, they're repatriated back to their country. What the hell are you talking about? Coyotes and wolves.
That's
You
because that's
don't
where
think
they
they
came from.
subjected themselves to coyotes and wolves to get across the border?
And your little mustache looks like little Hitler. Sorry. I just don't want to be the
I
soldier that
don't
has to rest.
care. You
I don't
realize
want to
there's
be.
Godwin's rule. It doesn't care. Compare people to Hitler. It's been worn out so
I
much.
don't. I don't want to
You
be the
realize
soldiers.
Obama deported 8 million immigrants?
Hmm.
So
Yeah,
that
I don't doubt
wasn't
it. I mean,
enough.
nothing is a drop in the bucket. They're still
He
coming
needed to
over.
keep going.
So here's the deal: we build a huge wall. We deport everybody undocumented, and we build a bubble and a no-fly zone so that nobody can come in or out of the country of the United States of America.
I
Right?
don't
I mean, is that what you're
care.
saying?
I don't care.
Is that
I
what you're saying?
just want these people to stop undercutting our
These people.
wages. Remember, you don't remember.
Okay.
Nobody really
Well,
remembers, but the boomers will tell you times were better. Why do they say that? Why are there stories in our relatively recent American history?
I
There
see.
are stories of young men being able to travel the country doing odd jobs and farm work, and you could just arrive in town. You could just arrive in town. You'd have enough money in your pocket to go get an ice cream and meals and stay at a hotel for a while, and then you chat with your friends for a while and you find out where the jobs are because you want to stay a while. And they're like, yeah, there's like Jack Kerouac's on the road. This happened. You just arrive somewhere like Denver or wherever the hell you want to go and be like, yeah, I'm here for a while with some change because I did a job for a while. Now I'm here and I want another job. Where's the work? There would always be work you could do. There always would be. Now
Yeah, I
you're going
think
to
you're
be
right.
scared to death if you go to an American city now and you don't know somebody there and you don't
Right.
have a lot of savings to tide you over while you're looking for work. If you didn't get a professional job over LinkedIn or something, sending out hundreds of resumes and doing online interviews and everything, man, forget being unskilled, taking off in your car somewhere on the road and just, or hitchhiking and just getting a job. How are you going to
Right.
do that anymore?
Well, well, and a job that pays. I think that's
That's what
what you're
I
talking
mean.
about.
That's what I
Right.
mean.
That's what you're
No,
talking
but
about.
there aren't
Right.
even, and there are scarcely even any jobs
So now,
open.
can I bring up a couple of points?
Yeah.
And then we don't have much time.
Yeah.
I do believe we're getting into another reason why Trump won was the division. We're talking about these people and black jobs and working poor and middle class and
No.
you know and
No,
I
it's
think he
just,
won because, well, division works. Division, anytime you can divide people into thinking that the other group is the reason why they're not doing well, you fool people. A good Republican fools people into thinking that they have money, and that's all part of it
I
is the
have not
division.
been fooled into thinking I had money. In fact,
Well, it's
Indiana man, I was about to vote against. I didn't vote, but I was about to figure out how to, you know, vote from abroad and vote against Trump because of the Puerto Rico gaffe. That made me mad. But
hmm
but I am
vision.
still against illegal work, illegal
Okay,
immigrant work,
okay, and
because
then
because
yeah, and
because
but
you
I
know
want to go
why.
back to something else that
What?
you did say. You did say a while back you had this job across the street from the location where I work, even,
Yeah,
and you
yeah.
said you had it, and you said something and you said I should have kept it.
No, no, no. I went when I was in when like in 2004 or so. I had a job. Yeah,
Hmm
yeah, that's the one I meant. Yeah. In about '04 or something. I should have kept it, but it was still not paying nearly as much as it should. Well, maybe then even times were better. Maybe that's why
Right.
I have this lingering feeling that I would have been okay there instead of going off to Korea to teach English, which was also a mistake. I mean,
So,
it was a great
I mean,
experience, but
there
yeah,
have been times where my job has just sucked to the bone, and it had been harder than hell. And there have been times where my job has been very good to me, but I have stayed and stuck with it, and for 26 years now. Um, so I don't even know what it's like out there. I just go to work every
well,
day,
so
clock
you
in at
have
this
no
factory.
idea. You have no idea. You're admitting you have no idea what it's like to be a young man or a returning citizen who just
Right.
wants to, check the help wanted. What can I do to support my family and have a house and a car and be safe and live a relatively comfortable life as we should. That's how the first world is defined, is it not? What
Right.
happened? What happened to that? What
Well,
happened?
uh, and
Seriously.
I don't even know if a man could do that with the job that I have because of the things that have happened in my life. I've had a couple of military deployments that they hurt me and then they helped me financially and then I've had a couple of divorces to where I'm not the
Okay.
average guy. I've had
Okay.
some odd things
All
happening to
right.
me.
You're
So I don't
employment.
know.
Imagine that there are there are men who are struggling with employment itself. You haven't, okay? But to the men who are just struggling with basic employment, you realize how much they might have the right to strongly dislike an illegal encroaching on their wages. Yes.
A little, yes, a little bit in the trades sector.
Or unskilled, just hey, give me a job, I just want to support my family, just that, which
Well,
I should have the right to do.
but eventually that does run into the trades sector where
Well, yeah,
over time
I could get skilled for sure. I could
right,
get skilled.
these you can be in a construction type of job and
Yeah,
these people are taking these jobs and learning as they go
yeah,
and then
yeah. You realize
suddenly, you know, suddenly
how much a stretch of unemployment hurts a man, and you got an illegal coming in, and you're causing this
and
American
he's doing a
citizens.
half price. He's doing a
Yeah.
half price under the table.
Plus, he's
Half price.
interrupting this American man's livelihood for
Right.
him to support
And
his family. No, no,
but then
you're not
again
doing that in my country. Get the hell
and
out.
you
Get the
well and
hell
you
out of
right and
America. If you're going to be
you and the
illegal
red
and you're going to take a working man's job livelihood to support
right
his family,
you
get the
well
hell out. Just
and
get out.
you so you and the red wave have spoken and that's the way people in this country feel, but I'm more of an empath. I'm more of a you know there were many reasons why I
But you
didn't
have
vote
a
for Trump.
job. You don't really
Right.
have. Are you empathic for the American worker whose job has been encroached on? His
Mm.
wages
See,
lower. Are
that's
you
a tough call.
empathetic to the Americans, to the
Right,
7 million men without jobs, can't get
that's
wives?
it's a tough
It's
call because I've just always
it's
had a
not a
job.
tough call. Where are your loyalties? It's not.
Well, it's
Why can't you have empathy for the American
it's
worker?
because I'll never know if it's the fact of they just can't find jobs or maybe they just don't want to do the jobs. I don't know.
If the
I
wait,
don't,
if well, now look, nobody wants to do work. That's why it's work. That's why you get paid for it. Now look,
right?
if the value of labor went up, it would appear as if they wanted to do the work. Am I right?
Yeah, it yeah.
You
So
want to
I
do
guess what
more work, so you can't blame Gen Z for being lazy, for not wanting to work, when the value of your labor in your time was at least twice as much as theirs is now. The fruits of your labor were like, because your labor was a limiting factor. If you're going to come in this country